He used to be a monk, but now he's a multi-millionaire.
There is so much to unpack.
He's got a roster of celebrity connections.
It's incredible what you're saying and what you're doing.
And then you'd walk back in and you'd be Will again.
And his goal in life is to make wisdom go viral.
But maybe we're focusing on the wrong criteria.
But is he really a millennial mogul, or more like a plagiarizing phony?
But he literally took things that other people wrote that is inherently stealing.
He's 100% full of shit and stole every single thing his career is based off.
In this deep dive video, we'll explore the world of Jay Shetty, the guy who thinks like a monk, but actually was only a monk for a very short period of time. To me, Jay Shetty is a very well-spoken guy who wanted to be rich and famous, and he accomplished that goal by telling people that being rich and famous isn't everything. If you're familiar with Dhar Mann here on YouTube, Jay Shetty is basically a carbon copy of him, except with greener eyes.
If we're not supposed to let success get to our heads, then why do we let failure get to our hearts?
And it's funny because Dhar Mann actually made a video about Jay Shetty's life story on his channel.
So what do you think?
You really think people are going to watch this? As a media executive, I could promise you right now that your idea will never work.
Jay started recording inspirational videos by himself. He learned everything on his own without the help of anyone else.
I was wrong about you. After we met, I started seeing your videos everywhere. You really did make wisdom go viral.
That video is just the tip of the cringe iceberg that we're gonna be watching today, so buckle up. But before we watch anything more, we need to talk about who Jay is and where he came from. Jay Shetty is 34 years old and is from a suburb in North London. And it seemed Jay's parents had high expectations of him while he was growing up.
When I was growing up in London, I had three choices: to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure. And I ended up at business school, so I guess I was the third.
Yeah, those were my three options, right? That was it. There was no fourth option. So according to my parents, family, or the community I grew up in, I'm a failure.
His sister became a doctor, so I guess his parents can relax now? Anyways, after a somewhat rebellious high school career, Jay Shetty goes on to the Cass Business School in London to pursue a degree in behavioral science.
And I was going to business school, and every week we had CEOs, entrepreneurs, celebrities coming to speak and share their stories. And I was fascinated by how people went from nothing to something. And one week I was told that this monk was invited. And I actually said to one of my friends, I said, I'm only going if we go to a bar afterwards, because I wasn't interested in hearing a monk's perspective on life. So my friend forced me to go. He promised me we'd go to a bar afterwards, and it changed my life.
And this monk was invited to speak. And I kind of just went because one of my friends forced me to. At that time, I was listening to CEOs and entrepreneurs and business people and marketers who I thought that's what I was aspiring to be like. And then I hear this monk. And he captivated me like no one had ever captivated me before. It was like staring at the most beautiful woman on the planet.
The monk he fell in love with is Gauranga Das. Here's how Jay describes him.
So he's a Hindu monk. He's a Hindu monk. He went to IIT, he went to the Indian Institute of Technology. He's super smart. Like one of the smartest people in his year, like very accomplished. And he gave it all up. And I was like, either he's really smart or he's really crazy. He's very ambitious, very focused. He can get a lot done. He's a powerhouse to be around. At the same time, he wakes up at 2 a.m. to meditate every day.
Damn, he's got Rachel Hollis beat by 2 hours.
Most people won't get up at 4 a.m.
I also just want to say that in addition to Gauranga Das being a Hindu monk, he also has a very high-ranking title within the Hare Krishna movement. I am not sure what that means exactly. All I know is that he's involved in some eco-village projects in a leadership position. So what that means, I'm not exactly sure. I just thought it was important to mention here. Here's the part of the story that I can't understand. And this happens a lot with self-help gurus. There's like one part of the story, it's like, can you please go into detail about this? And they never do. How did Jay, who was 18 years old when he met Gauranga Das, go from an audience member listening to him talk to what happens next?
And so what I started to do is I was interning at companies and firms and corporates, thinking I was getting a grad job afterwards. And then I'd spend the rest of my summer holidays interning in India, living with him as a monk. So I'd use all my summer and Christmas holidays to just be out there with the monks. And so I'm living there, I'm waking up. I'm almost doing all the practices, just as if you were shadowing a CEO. I'm just shadowing a monk. And so I'm just shadowing his lifestyle. So we wake up, he's like one of the most elite monks. So we're waking up at like 2 a.m. every day after sleeping at like 9 or 10 p.m. And then we study these ancient Vedas, which are 5,000 plus years old, together. And we spend 2 hours, and I'm studying with the best of the best here, so.
How did this arrangement happen? That's what I want to know. I feel like there's a missing element to the story. Like, was Jay paying to be there for this internship program? Like, what was exchanged? Because I don't think just anyone off the street at 18 years old can just meet somebody and say, hey, I'm going to intern whenever I feel like it and come visit you and shadow your life. I mean, maybe that happens, but I feel like that's a rare thing. And I wish he would go into a little bit more detail. So when Jay finally graduated from college, he says he turned down so many lucrative job offers to pursue being a monk full time. He says he spent 3 years as a monk until one day he was hospitalized, and then the leadership team and himself decided together that it was best if he left. And I just want to point out that it's actually rare for Jay to admit to the hospitalization part of this story. Oftentimes when people are delivering his bio or he gives his own bio, it sounds more like this.
After finishing business school, he turned down lucrative offers from prestigious companies, shaved his head, and hit the road. For 3 years, he traveled across India, Europe, and England living as a monk, studying, meditating, and building food and shelter programs for those in need. He was definitely in love with what he was doing, but he knew that it didn't scale.
And that's the part of this whole thing that bothers me. It's because Jay essentially failed as a monk, which is fine. People fail every day. Being a monk is not for everyone, I would imagine. But then Jay rewrites history to make it seem like he was too empathetic. He was too compassionate to just keep his wisdom in that small monastery, that he had to leave and spread this wisdom with other people on Facebook, that, you know, he had a happy life at the monastery, but he had to sacrifice that to go and to spread this message. It's like, come on, man.
So that is why you decided to not just be in India and be a monk. You decided it's better to be able to share this knowledge.
This knowledge and wisdom needs to reach everyone in the world.
After he was done being a monk, he moved back in with his parents, and within 9 months, he gets a job at Accenture, doing something in social media, in a new tech. It's sort of unclear exactly what his role was, but while he was in that position, I guess he started doing some content related to mindfulness and his time as a monk. And then at a meeting, the CEO or someone in high leadership at Accenture talked to Ariana Huffington of the Huffington Post about Jay and what he was doing. Then Ariana decided to offer Jay a job, and he accepted it, and it was for a job in New York City where he would be a host and create content for the Huffington Post. And we need to take a moment right there to acknowledge how big of a deal that is. You know, most people who worked for the Huffington Post probably had to apply and be accepted, and it seems like Jay got, you know, really lucky that his boss or the CEO of the company he worked for mentioned his name to her. It's very interesting, and I think, you know, good for him. That's really awesome, but it's not a typical story that most people can relate to. So while Jay was with the Huffington Post, he made a lot of videos that were highly viewed, like this one.
Paradox of our times was propounded by the Dalai Lama when he said we have wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We have taller buildings but shorter tempers. Will Smith said that we spend money we haven't earned on things we don't need to impress people we don't like.
I swear, back in 2015, if you had a video with piano background music, stock footage of people looking out windows longingly, and used the words purpose and society, you would get 1 million views, like, automatically. And this sort of surprised me. He only stayed at the Huffington Post for about 6 months before he decided to go on his own. So in 2016, he launches his own Facebook page, and around that time, he also marries his wife, Roddy.
So I was trying to buy a gift for you, and I found this amazing Asus tablet.
What is Asus?
And Asus is a good brand, everybody. And so I thought, look, this looks like a really good one. Let me buy it. Got it, packed it up, gave it to him. I have never seen disappointment like so bad in my life from opening a gift, because when he says he wants a tablet, he wanted an iPad. And so I learned that he likes really good quality, expensive gifts.
Yeah, that sounds like the behavior of a monk. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I promise. I think she's actually really cool and really funny based on the content that I've watched of her and him together. It seems like Jay likes his physical image. He has a certain swagger, a certain fashion sense, a certain hair routine that he does that it seems to work for him. And video clips like this sort of confirm that.
My getting ready time is probably half the time with Jay's because he spends so much time doing his hair. You a diva?
I'm not a diva. I think, you know, people just project their own opinions onto other people. So I think she's talking about herself, really.
So having said that, I feel like Jay really wanted to find someone, or he just happened to find someone that looks like the female version of himself. They look like twins, okay? They look like fraternal twins, in my opinion. Now, they're not related, I don't think. It's almost weird to me. I don't know. Maybe that's too far. Maybe that's too judgmental. I just feel like I've never seen a couple so closely look like each other before, with the exception of the LeBrants. Back to Jay's Facebook fame. Let's watch a few of Jay's Facebook videos together to see how amazing his wisdom is. I'm not gonna force you to watch the whole video, but I think you'll understand the vibe and the style of these videos pretty quickly. This one is called If They Left You, Remember This Important Life Lesson.
Hello?
I can't wait to see you. I'm so excited. This is gonna be the best day of my life. I've dreamt about this since I was a little girl. You're going the wrong way.
I can't do this.
What do you mean? You're leaving me?
You couldn't have let her know before she got in her wedding dress, fully made up, in the back of the car on the way to the venue? You couldn't have like sent her a text before that? Come on. Also, this slow-mo car shot is the most dramatic thing I've ever seen in my life. I honestly love it. It's so bad. It's so bad that it's good. So that video that we just watched got 158 million views on Facebook. But I'm gonna call bullshit for a second, and I'm not saying this is Jay's fault or that Jay orchestrated this somehow. I think more so probably it's Facebook's issue. But something suspicious is going on with his videos. 158 million views and this many comments? To me, that screams fake. Or how about this one? Rich X teaches struggling girl a lesson. 145 million views and only 45 comments? Come on. Or this one, 23 million views, 83 comments. I get more comments on my videos, and it's an amazing day if I get 10,000 views on a video. So it doesn't compute to me. What is going on here? On Jay's website, he claims that his videos have been viewed more than 7 billion times, which might be true, but those viewers just might be robots. Again, I can't confirm or deny what's going on here. I can only bring my questions to the surface, but do you think this is normal? So at the end of his videos, Jay often pops up and comes on screen in some way and delivers the message of the video basically down your throat.
Look, I get it. But imagine this for a moment. In those situations, you're actually letting go and being saved from a lifetime of pain.
Of course that's the advice. She needs to get over it. Not that he's a bad person and let her on. No, of course not. Anyways, sometimes Jay even inserts himself into the narrative. This one is called When You Bump Into Your Ex. And it seems to be the part 2 of the video we just watched because it stars the same actors as before.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. So how are things?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. How's Sarah?
Oh, she's okay. Yeah.
Damn, he left her for Sarah? That bitch. Now they're gonna call Jay Shetty the millennial monk on his home fax machine.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Louise.
I need to tell you this.
Yeah, sure.
Because Jay was a monk for 3 years, he actually is above vibrationally everyone else in the world. So he's on the multiverse timeline, so he's actually able to answer 2 calls at the same time, in case you were wondering.
I miss her, and I told her that I meant it.
Bro, don't even. You left her in the limo on her wedding day. What? Let's see what Jay has to say.
We're so scared of opening up. We're so fearful of being vulnerable because we might fall, because we might get rejected. But what if that's what kept you two apart? What if that was the reason that you never realized that you both felt the same way?
The only couple in this video that doesn't have commitment issues is Jay and his hair gel. So that's the general vibe of a Jay Shetty video. Now, I'm just gonna say that this type of video, this type of content is not made for me. Not to be dramatic, but I think I would gouge my eyes out if I had to watch any more of his content. So it's almost laughable that Jay would say this.
The impact I want to have on the world is I want to transform and revolutionize the entertainment industry so that it becomes educational without anyone knowing. So it's still completely entertaining. It's still like watching Netflix, but you're learning about human behavior, the mind, neuroscience, and everything without even knowing you are.
If Peaky Blinders ended every episode like this,
We live in a world where people get ghosted more than they get texted.
I would fucking notice, Jay. Okay, here's a video that Jay posted in 2020 that I'm gonna give him a little credit for at the top. It's creative, and it even rhymes sometimes.
We cannot stay silent as the black community continually deals with violence.
However, overall, it came off as performative and using other people's tragedies to profit. It's called Silence is Violence. In the skit, Jay is wearing a prison jumpsuit and is being interrogated by someone who wants to know if he's guilty.
Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
And then pulls out pictures of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd.
I guess we need to define what it means to be involved.
Yeah, I think we're off to a rough start already. Then he goes into a spoken word poem about how we all haven't done enough for the black community.
Did I intentionally kill another human being with malice? No, sir, that's not me.
But did you take a stand and help set people free?
I'm not sure I know what you mean. The truth is, I've always been a bystander, a spectator, sometimes a commentator, but I never saw myself as a perpetrator.
My main criticism of this video is that he's using these people's tragedy to profit for himself and to further promote his own career and products.
We posted and prayed and then started another day. But when George Floyd died with a knee on his neck, something deep inside me got checked.
And I don't know what Jay Shetty has personally done to help the black community other than make this one singular video. And I think using the graphic footage of George Floyd dying on camera was in poor taste. Overall, the message is okay. The intention was probably to be a little bit more out of the box, a little bit more extreme, a little bit more edgy than his normal content, which I can applaud him for. But I'm not sure what he wants people to take away from the video, that we're all guilty of watching the news. It just seems like kind of a weird thing to put onto people.
If I'm not a part of the solution, then I'm a part of the problem. I'm responsible for what happened because I didn't stop them.
I don't know. And something else that's confusing is where Jay actually got all his wisdom from.
Jay Shetty is full of shit. He's 100% full of shit and stole every single thing his career is based off. Dear Jay Shetty.
That was Nicole Arbour, and I'm not a big fan of her work, but she did a really great job of finding a lot of examples where Jay allegedly took quotes and full-on stories from other people and then said that he wrote it and produced it himself.
It's not like he reposted somebody else's meme. He crops their name out and puts in Jay Shetty. That's stealing.
The way we communicate says it all. We spend more time holding our phones than we hold each other. When you're young, you say, I love you because I need you. When you grow up, you realize I need you because I love you.
Don't let someone be a priority when all you are to them is an option.
Oh, God, I love it when I'm right. Another one.
Some of us lose the people most important to us because we don't value their time.
That is straight stealing.
Life and time are the best two teachers. Life teaches us to make good use of time, and time teaches us the value of life.
I put a link in the description below to Nicole's video. I highly suggest watching the whole thing. As far as I've been able to find, Jay has never once addressed these plagiarism accusations. And I wasn't able to confirm if this was always there on his videos or he added these after the fact when he was called out. But now in the description of some of his videos on Facebook and on YouTube, it says credit for quote or credit for idea, and he'll list some of the quotes that he said in the video and who actually said it first. So I guess putting credit in the description is better than just saying that you created it yourself. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. This is like somewhat better, but to me it begs the question, what did you actually learn as a monk, Jay? That's his whole claim to fame here, that he was a monk, he left to spread his wisdom that he learned while being a monk to the masses, right? But most of the stuff that he shares, that he puts in his videos, that he creates content around is old self-help tips that I've heard 1,000 bazillion million times. And I really hate this argument, and I've heard it before when talking about Jay Shetty. It's like, well, who cares where the idea comes from? He's spreading positivity to the world. It's like, okay, so if I just rewrote The Grapes of Wrath and put my name on it, you could say, well, she was just spreading good literature. It's like, are you insane? Do you not understand why copyright exists? Like, I know we're in the wild, wild west right now, and especially back in like the 2016 time frame, it was even worse online. But we can't just like be accepting of people stealing others' ideas and putting their name on it and then having them make money from it. I hate it. Speaking of products and how Jay sells things, let's talk about all the ways that Jay makes money. One of Jay's streams is motivational speaking. His in-person speaking fees are more than $100,000. And that might not seem like a lot because other self-help gurus have like the same astronomical numbers to speak on stages. I just find this to be an abhorrent amount of money for one person with like no credentials to stand on a stage and tell you that like, good job, you're great, you're amazing, like be positive. It's just insane to me. I don't understand how this whole industry works. I don't understand why people would pay to go see Jay Shetty talk about, you know, a meme that he found or a quote that he read 10 years ago. Like, it just seems insane. And I'm not saying he's the only culprit, but motivational speaking generally, I don't like it. I don't understand it either. Another revenue stream for Jay is through a company he created called Genius, which I guess is named after what he thinks he is. It's basically an online course with some live group Zoom calls. You can pay $39 a month or $390 for the year. And the funny thing about this sales page where it's encouraging you to join and become a Genius member are some of these statistics that they've listed. 1 year of Jay Shetty's Genius increases overall happiness by 60%. 1 year of Jay Shetty's Genius improves daily motivation by 100%. And does this mean that everybody started the course with 0% daily motivation? These numbers are just so funny. Like, it's trying to make it seem scientific and it's like, okay. And at the top it says they looked at the average member results. So above average users improved their motivation by what, 5,000%? Like, how do you quantify this? And this one's even more annoying because it's a life coach certification course that Jay runs. To me, life coaching certifications are essentially meaningless because there's basically, as of right now, no government regulation currently for life coaching. So a certification course is just what one coach thinks another coach should learn before they become a life coach. The price is starting from $675 a month. But how many months does it take to complete this? You have to talk to an enrollment specialist to find that out. According to this blog, they said back in 2020, the cheapest option was an upfront charge of $5,000. And right now on the site, there are 325 certified listed coaches. So that would mean at the bare minimum, Jay made at least $1.6 million in sales, and that's just the people who finished the course. This guy is a genius. Another way Jay makes money is from a tea company that him and his wife Radha run together called Sama Tea. And Jay is also the chief purpose officer of the Calm meditation app. But finally, and the most obvious way that Jay makes money is from ads from Facebook, YouTube, and his podcast. According to tubefiller.com, Jay made $1 million from Facebook alone in 2018. My question is, why is making so much money so important to someone who thinks like a monk? Well, according to Jay, he wants to make a lot of money so that he can do good with it. Yeah, it's definitely just to help people, not to buy $8.4 million mansions in the Hollywood Hills. When I hear somebody say that they're a good person and they want to do good with their money, I always assume they must be involved in a lot of nonprofits or charities. On Jay's website, he lists 3 ways that he's giving back. The first is the Kailash Satyahari Children's Foundation, where he says he partnered with Soul Pancake and other creators, including Katie Morton, who we should talk about on this channel at some point, and said they raised $148,000. I mean, that's great. That deserves applause for sure. But it doesn't say how much Jay gave individually. To me, $148,000 from all of those pretty big creators seems low, personally, especially when you're buying $8 million plus mansions. Okay, let's see what else he's got. The next is Pencils of Promise, where he says he and his Facebook community raised $66,000. Again, awesome. But when you look at the actual fundraiser, it looks like the goal was to raise $75,000. Couldn't he have thrown in that last $9,000? And it also seems like, again, his community and him raised this money. So how much is Jay giving individually? Unknown. The final charity that Jay lists is the most interesting to me. It's called the We Charity, and it's been involved in scandal after scandal with misappropriating money, allegedly.
We Charity raised millions to build schoolhouses in Africa.
I went to 3 We Days, and at the first one I heard, yeah, and you could build a school in Kenya.
So we went to Kenya to see how many were actually built.
All the money that was collected for this village doesn't add up.
It raises an eyebrow for me. I've linked the articles and the investigation video below. It's really interesting. Okay, so to wrap this video up, I thought it was time to make a little viral video of my own to teach you all about the perils of following gurus. It's called Before Listening to Jay Shetty, Watch This.
Should people watch Jay Shetty? I'm sick of rich people in mansions telling us how to be grateful, while gurus label every emotion other than happy as hateful. Life isn't something you can be certified in, and it's not a game you're supposed to win. It's hard to take a monk seriously when you hang out with a Kardashian and wear Adidas tracksuits that you're trying to look flashy in. It must be hard knowing that you have to steal someone's quote because that means nothing interesting is coming out of your throat. You may think all my criticism is petty, but I'd rather be me any day than be Jay Shetty.